What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Sirr Love from Phase 6. Here's another snippet from Chasing Greatness. All right, here we go. Let's reach out to Mike. Michael King had a dope question. It was long. It was a paragraph long. It was an interesting question. He had been talking about how he's coming out of Nashville, and he has friends that are hit artists and writers because they were able, to get in the game and find, a commercial country sound. And I just kind of want to hear what Michael King is talking about and see if there's a way we can add value, because there are a lot of things that he wants to talk about in reference to, restrictions. He brought up references to Lenny Kravitz. He wanted to know if certain things were good ideas or bad. It was a whole thing. I'm not going to read it all, but I'm going to call him right now so we can talk about it. Here we go. Mike.
Hello. Yeah.
What's going on, my guy? How you feeling?
Not much. Just killing the end of the night.
I dig it, man. It is the end of the night, man. I appreciate you being up to take the call. I know you ended up being the last call of the whole session. I know I sent the messages out saying we end at 11:30. Here we are at 11:35. We went over a little bit. But I want to open up by saying I appreciate you for supporting the channel and watching our videos and consuming our content, and allowing us to be a guiding, figure in your career and your decision-making process, or just having any type of involvement. I think that's dope. But I saw your message, and it was you had a lot of thoughts there. It was a lot to take in. So I kind of want to get from you. We probably have 10 to 12 minutes or so. There was a lot to address. So how do you want to best spend the time? Is there one particular question you want to speak to? Is there a scenario you just like to brainstorm about? How do you want to approach it?
Well, I'd say right now, I've geographically, I live between Memphis and Nashville, and Nashville is more of the place that I put my focus on, with management and with friends from my hometown that have had success writing and co-writing hit country songs. And I'm like the guy that's just, my manager would put me in the commercial country music situations, and I would play around the Southeast, but it just really, nothing would ever stick. The way I do my music is a certain way, and although people that know my music know that I'm, they would call me prolific. I write a lot, and I write. My goal was always, from the time I started writing music, to write the best music that I could, write to allow it to happen, and to write music that's with the goal of finding something eventually that's undeniable, put in front of somebody and them not be able to deny it. But the thing, I guess the question that arises now is the way the music industry is ever changing, and, Spotify is changing recently to where, if you invest money, you can basically get your song out there more. Well, granted, it's if it's not good, it's not. I don't really understand how it all works yet, but basically, it seems like if you've got money to spend, and maybe it's always been this way, the more money you've got to spend, the chances you could do a whole lot more. I know I could do a whole lot more, and just trying. The creative process can be a full-time job in itself. Mm-hmm. And then when you've got all of this as an independent artist, all of this stuff that you're trying to build up, you're trying to put out quality videos for your potential fans to get to know you, and also to get to like your music. You want to make sure that everything you put out on social media is quality, good stuff. And that's one of the easier parts, I feel. Not to sound cocky, but I feel like that'll be something fun and doable. But it's all the other stuff that's just like how you've got so many aspects of the way to do the business and find some success that online through social media, through all these streaming music platforms. It just seems like you need a whole crew. You know, you need employees. You need help. You know, so that's my question. I guess that would be an okay question, because that's kind of where I'm at now. We're playing live and just kind of started back at point A, using the same band name, just kind of shorten it to 3 letters, you know, and end up, you know, playing live. But my thing is, if I'm going to do something, I want to do it right. You know, I don't want to waste time on anything that's, you know, I've got a good work ethic. I just want to know that what I'm doing are the right things, that I do have the right tools. If I don't have the right tools, you know, figure out what I need to do with this DIY kind of system I've got going. And I'm sure there are a lot of people that are like that, maybe not even, you know, maybe just enjoying playing, and like I did I just enjoyed making music for so long. It's just, I loved it. You know, there's certain songs I've written. I was telling someone yesterday, it's like, I like that song. You know, that's if it wasn't me, I would like this song. So I just love it. I love when I find something that I create that I know that I can enjoy from the other side. But now, you know, and I have beat on, you know, the doors in Nashville. I have carried my case around down Music Row, and I've made the phone calls. But now it seems the work, you know, it's like, okay, you know, you're not getting any younger. You've spent a lot of time
being
having
creative,
fun, trying to,
and not enough time doing business.
Yeah, exactly.
So
exactly.
Let's talk about this. Let me jump in here.
Okay.
First, let me say my heart goes out to you for your passion. Right, I love it when I hear someone speak as passionately as I'm hearing you talk about your craft and what you love to do, and how, you know, the impact it has on you. I mean, even saying, hey, not to be cocky, but I create the creative part of creating content is easy for you because you truly are passionate about what you love. And it's those type of artists like you that have that type of mindset. Granted, the music is good, you know, could really do some amazing things in the space. So let's talk about why these amazing things are not necessarily happening the way that you want them to happen, and what changes you can make to expedite that, right? So, and I had this conversation top of this session, where we really dived into the various different ways you can make it in the business. And I'll say them quickly. I don't want to go too long on it, because in the same episode that you're on, you'll be able to hear that version, right? But in short, when you're trying to break into the game, there's a couple ways to do it that are common, right? Way number one is what you just said, walking up and down Music Row, and, you know, Musicians Row, whatever, and really looking to get a deal, right? And that's something unique to Nashville. You can't do that everywhere. Even though all the labels are in the same place in New York and LA and stuff, you can't even really do that. But, you know, that's shopping. That's called shopping. And typically when you shop, you want to have a representative shop you. You want someone that has connections in all those buildings to be presenting you so that you have the right footing and the right audience. You may have done that. And if you did do it that way and you didn't get the responses you wanted, it's because they, you know, for whatever reason, they didn't bite on it. The sales pitch wasn't there. The whole marketing, something was missing that didn't make people buy it. Right, Musicians Row is actually really more of a publishing warehouse than it is a label warehouse anyway, right? So you get more opportunities to write records for other people and generate wealth for yourself through that methodology, and hopefully generate opportunities, turn those writing opportunities into truly, you know, artist opportunities, which it kind of sounds like is your path, right? based off of what you said about music and writing and songs and whatever. Then you also have the other path, which you also spoke to, which was making yourself a viable artist, right? You going out there doing your own marketing, doing your own promotions, this, that, and the third. And that methodology does require a crew. You're not crazy. It does require a crew. What you're basically saying is, I am going to be a business all to myself. I'm going to be more than a creative. I am not going to be the chef in the restaurant. I am going to own the restaurant and be the chef. That is what artists say when they want to be independent, right? And that's one of the reasons why, even on my channel, I'm one of those people that don't bash labels. I think labels serve a very amazing and important part, an important role to the ecosystem of the business. And, you know, maybe the major labels have gotten off base. Maybe it's time for smaller independent labels to come up and close the gap as it used to be before they were all purchased, right? But, you know, there's a place for a person that says, I want to own a restaurant and serve the best food, but I don't know how to cook, right? There's a place for that. And you basically are the cook. You make the most amazing food on the block, but you're sitting here saying, damn, I don't know anything about a liquor license. I don't know how to manage employees. I don't all the margins and where to order the food from and all. It's a lot going on. Damn, it's a lot of work. And I agree. Yeah. If you want to be an independent artist, you need either a team, and I talk about that on YouTube on the videos. I talk about how to build your team, which starts with the creative. You first, there's videos on my channel that tell you step by step really how to build your team of influence, and it starts at one level, it gives you buy-in for the next, it gives you buy-in for the next, it gives you buy-in for the next, and you can definitely do that to build your team. Definitely go watch the videos that I have about team building on the channel. All right, they're older videos at this point, but the information is still gold. It's solid. It's evergreen. But in reference to, you know, if you don't want to take that path, then there's other options, right? The other option outside of working your record and trying to get signed and then working yourself would be you signed to another independent. Instead of going to the majors, look for a local label that is investing money in their artist that is willing to invest in you. Instead of trying to go straight to the top, recognize that some of these smaller companies could be the companies that really put you in a position to go to the top. Right? Because you're not obviously doing the business stuff. That there's a business that is one step away from being successful if they just had you. There's a restaurant that could be the most popular restaurant in town. They manage it right. The restaurant is amazing. The layout is amazing. They take good care of all the employees there, but the food is horrible. And if only they had you, they'd be the top restaurant in the area. Right? There are a lot of organizations like that will fit you hand in glove, and it may be worth it for you to sign with a smaller organization, and that decision may be the difference between them, you know, signing themselves to a major deal, and now you end up being with a major anyway, right? And now you have a major label funding it because major labels just want to fund smaller chains, right? They're basically right. That's what they want to do. The major label doesn't want to do the work; they want to fund a group of people that know how to do the work and recoup off of it. And hopefully not just recoup, but get revenues in ROI, right? So that's the next option. And then the next option after that, of course, is pursuing publishing and just coming in as a writer through the back door. And then you also have just being a great performer, going out there and doing amazing shows, all right? Now, I said all this. Go ahead. All right.
Yeah. I think that's great. You know, as a writer in Nashville, you know, I respect guys like Bruce Robinson. You know, he's had some hits with, the song "Wrapped," George Strait, which that's as country as it can get, but it's a great song, you know. And that's what my peer Jonathan Singleton is doing. He's written a lot of stuff, major artists to cut. So that's, you know, there's an avenue for me. It's not that I can't write commercial country. It's just that's not my first thing that I do. And one thing Jonathan told me is like, man, a few years back, you know, Michael, you've written pop type music, you know, and I write alternative kind of rock as well. But he said you write pop music very well. That's where country's going. I think at one point, you know, like you mentioned before, you know, I did have. I want to put crew in quotation marks because I did have a manager that was, I think his intentions were good. But we got with the producer that, I don't know, when the demo was all done, he took the demo to Barbara Orbison, who owns a publishing company in Nashville, which is Roy Orbison's widow. And basically what came back to me is Barbara just kind of, gave this producer, I won't name him, but gave him like the shame on you. And I remember being in the studio with Vince Gill's drummer who was on the session, and Billy Thomas telling me, Michael, what you're saying makes sense. Tell him. And I would tell him, but the producer would say, the natives have taken over. Basically saying the artist is trying to tell me what to do on my job here. So there have been some opportunities, but I did a few years back invest in Logic Pro X. I'm not great at it right now, but if you look on the internet on the it's like Spotify or Amazon Music, you'll find, which I know is probably a no-no, but you'll find some demos if you look up Michael L. King. And I like I said, I know that's a no-no putting demos up, but I did it. It's done. But I'm just
I don't even think that's a no-no in today's market anymore. I don't think that's a no-no in today's market anymore. No, that's the thing of the past. I remember when that was. You was always worried about getting your records stolen and things of that nature, and people taking your content. But at this point, just do your due diligence with your paperwork, with your publishing, and registering your copyrights and all other type of stuff, and you're fine. There's so much content out there right now. Everyone has their content out there, right? So it's not everybody. It's not the same as it was before, where you put yours out there, you're this lone wolf, and everyone's kind of preying on you. There's stuff all over the place. But what I would tell you is this: everything that I'm hearing from you says that I'm a writer, right? And country artists, most of them write. A lot of country artists write their own stuff. A lot of country artists, they of course collaborate, but country is an environment where writing is still valued, and it's starting to shift. Obviously, as pop is coming into the space. It's not coming, it's came, it's there, it's here, right? It's not just pop, it's hip hop, because hip hop has become pop. It's all this stuff. Country is changing dramatically.
Oh yeah,
right.
Yeah.
But
yeah, exactly, it is.
What I would say to you is that you need to be in an environment where you're just banging away records. And honestly, I feel that writing is your passion more than being an artist, based off the conversation. And I have a video on my channel that says, are you a songwriter or are you an artist? And I think you should watch that video as well to see which one are you, because the artist path is much harder for you, someone like you. And if you're a songwriter, just be a songwriter and just key in on that. Like, you need to focus, right, on what's important to you right now. So it sounds to me like you spent a lot of time in your career all over the place, just doing what you love to do and being happy, but there was no path to success, right, that you was putting in place. You were just hoping that your talent would miraculously inspire someone, which used to happen. 90s, 2000s, that was a thing. By 2010, that was no longer a thing, right? So now, we have got to we have to be intentional about what we do. So if you want to be a writer, I feel that you should spend your time, in my personal opinion, based off what I'm hearing, that you should accept that you're a songwriter. And if you don't want to accept that, you should really commit to being an artist. But I'm going to go with the songwriter pathway because that's what I'm hearing right now. The commit artist is a different conversation. The songwriter pathway tells me that what you need to be doing, is you need to be building relationships with all the producers in the area. You should be everyone's best friend. You should pop up with just beers. Just like, hey, I just stopped by to get y'all beers, man. I just, hang out for a little bit. If they smoke with them, fucking leave. Like, you got to build relationships with everyone. You want to get to the point where they invite you to whatever the fuck you do. You know what I'm saying? Like, I've definitely hung out in the country, hanging out with friends who want to go cow tipping and shit. I'm not for it personally, but it was fun to watch people do the shit. So, going mudding and fishing, whatever, because the country is a different culture, it's a different vibe. You have fun in the wild, you hunt and you fuck, so it's a different vibe, right? So whatever you're doing with people, you want to be invited to those events as well as come to the studio, come to the show. That's the type of relationship you want to start building with producers and other writers. You want other writers to want you to be there. You want other producers to want you to be there, right? That's number one, from a networking perspective. Number two, you want to make sure you're always ready to come in and add value, because producers always need writers because, you know, artists always need ideas and suggestions and shit, and they can sell their music a lot more effectively if there's a reference on top of the record, right? So you can start as just being the reference guy, or a person that comes in and does other people's references, being humble enough to sing other people's references so that they can sell their records, you know, to help build the relationship. So this is all bottom level hustle type stuff that you should be doing. In the midst of that, I do agree that you should have your own setup at the house. I've worked with major producers, multi-platinum producers. There are two in particular that I can think of that are doing multi-platinum records still right now. Both of them told me that they don't work with an artist that can't record themselves. Right?
Oh, wow.
So I would tell you to go record. You should learn to record yourself. That is the greatest way that you can get your own expression, your own ideas out. Plus, you're a writer. It doesn't have to be perfect. You're building references, right? You're doing reference tracks all the time. So, you know, get it to the point where it sounds decent enough to take it to a producer. They'll throw a couple effects on there and when you're done with it, and they can sell the record. Next is you need to be partnering with multiple producers because, again, producers are more business oriented than artists, and they're more business oriented than writers. They're actively shopping their music and getting deals. And people in the business respect producers more because you have to see the producers for paperwork reasons and all sorts of business legal crap. So they're going to be the gateway to your success, right? And then, of course, there could be some artist that falls in love with your story and your style and says, you know, I would like your style to be my next album. But you're probably not going to meet this artist unless you're working with some producer that's playing your records to this artist. So for me, this is, you know, and your catalog needs to be crazy. Your catalogs of songs that you've written should be crazy. You should be able to say, hey, you know, this is a record that I can see on Jameson Rogers. This is a record that I can see on Randall King. You know, this is a record I can see on you know, Lori McKenna, you know. You need a catalog of records that you're like, yo, these records, you know, could go for these types of artists, and you should be able to show the diversity in your pen. I had the pleasure of going to T-Pain's house back when I worked with Nappy Boy Records, and we all know T-Pain is the guy that's, you know, in love with the girls in the club and strippers, and, you know, he always in love with the wrong person. And, you know, more recently he's writing, right? He's writing Post Malone's records and doing all sorts of stuff, right?
Oh, wow.
But, you know, like T-Pain is very relevant right now as a writer. But I knew he had that talent the first time I went to a studio. This man, I walk into the studio and he's just like, yo, man, I just got a vibe, man. I just want y'all to check this out. And I'm like, oh, dope. I get to hear the T-Pain unreleased shit. So, you know, I'm thinking T-Pain is getting ready to play me some more, you know, girl, I'm in the club, boom, and I want to get some dub, boom, and I want to, I'm thinking he's going to be on some shit like that. That was that time period. Yeah. Man, this man was playing like operatic music. He was playing country music. He was playing time period, like 40s, like music that sounded like it should be in a fucking 40s movie. He was playing EDM. He was playing, and it was all him.
Oh my God.
And I'm in the fucking studio like, yo, this dude, and it was all dumb. Like, this dude's a fucking genius. I didn't know you was a fucking genius. Like, that's how I felt. That's how I felt. Like, completely blown away. He's like, yo, so this is what I'm thinking for this. And this is what I'm thinking. And like, when I saw the breadth and the bandwidth of his talent, I was blown away. And you recognize that the public never heard any of that diversity. And that's because as an artist, you know, like people like ketchup. Like, ketchup is ketchup. Like, when ketchup tried to make ketchup purple, we were all like, what the fuck are y'all doing? I like my ketchup red. Remember that? It tried to make ketchup purple and green and shit. We were all like, what the fuck are y'all doing? Right? I like my ketchup red. Like, we don't like it when the things that we love try to diversify and do new shit. Right? So you end up in a box. Right. Right? And if you're a writer, you want to express yourself in any way that you can. I'm pretty sure T-Pain is happier now than he was before. Right? And I got to see him before. He probably is way happier now than he was before. So, you know, I think that is what I'm hearing from you, because it doesn't take long for me to point it out. Like, oh, you're a songwriter. You think you're an artist, but you're a songwriter. Oh, you're an artist that thinks you're a songwriter. I see that too. Right? So, yeah, man. Yeah. take some time. I mean, we've gone for a minute on this call, but I think it was valuable because I think there are a lot of other people that are in your situation that have basically been trying a million and one things and they haven't figured out who they are. And that often happens in songwriter, singer scenarios because it's so hard to pick one. But I believe that if you pick one, you'll see success in the other. Neo was in a singing group. He decided to focus on writing. He wrote a bunch of records. The label was like, we need you. You write great records. We don't want you to leave. What does it take to keep you here? Well, I want an artist deal. Great, we'll give you an artist deal. Just don't go. Next thing you know, he's Neo the superstar. Right? Dream. Same story for Dream. Right. Carrie Hilson. Right? R. Kelly was writing for people before he came on. R. Kelly is one of the best writers in history, even though we know he did some fucked up shit. But you know what I'm saying? Like, it, you know, so it doesn't prevent you from being who you want to be. But that's what I'm hearing for you. And I hope this feedback didn't rub you the wrong way and make you feel like I'm insulting your artistry. And I hope that you could take this and really consider some of the things that I gave you. But yeah, man, the
networking thing you said, the networking thing, you know, that's one thing my former manager, you know, he still tells me, he's like, I know it's COVID right now, but when it's not COVID, get out there and you network, you know, and that's where I could do what you're saying is like, you know, meet people, meet producers, meet artists, songwriters. And I've always for years had this feeling because I'm a realist. I tend to be a realist. I've always thought if the only scenario that really makes sense to me entering success from a point of non-success is being somewhere, playing somewhere, possibly, you know, and just meeting somebody like, you know, because I usually meet somebody after I play a show and they're like, you know, it might be one person that they enjoyed the show, but I've always had this idea that's the only way I really see it happening is meeting somebody that's either impressed with conversation or impressed with a set that I just did.
Yeah, but it's always that way.
I really feel that about the networking.
It's not meeting the person, and this is where we've messed up. And I got to wrap because I know I got to go to the next. Well, I got to wrap the show because we've been on the show for a long time. You don't know that, but we've been on the show for a long time. But what I will say, is this: it's not meeting someone above you that's going to pull you up. It's meeting the person that's side by side with you that's going to help you figure out how to ride up to the top together. The friends and relationships that will help you the most are the people to your left and your right. And so many times people are looking up to someone else to help pull me up the ladder, help put me on, bring me in the game, help get me my success, get signed, get this, that, and the third. No, that's not how it works. The successful people that you want to see, if you're out here running around scrapping and making it work, there's a promoter that's running around scrapping and making it work, begging people like you to come do a show. That's who you want to work with. There's a producer that's running around scrapping, trying to get people just to write to their music. That's who you want to work with. You want to work with the people that are at the same level as you, that have the same drive as you and passion as you for what they do. Because that's the group of people that's going to come up. We all come up together in classes, right? Like I know, like, you know, I look at people that are successful and I go, I remember me and you were working together back when you first got out of college. I first got out of college. Neither one of us had shit. You was working at Disturbing the Peace. I was working over here with Infrared, you know, and which had me at where was we? We was at Red Zone at the time, right? So I'm like, I see that person's growth now, where they are in their career. I see someone else who is now a major manager for multiple producers working at QC. And I'm like, man, I remember when we was on the strip together working, right? Like, and these are the, like, now I can call that person and say, yo, I know you with QC. I'm trying to bring someone over there to meet with QC, which is the record label that has, you know, Migos and Lil Baby, and, you know, they also manage Cardi B and blah, 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 right? So I could call. I can make that call, right? But I'm not making that call to Coach K. I'm making that call to the person that I know that we came up together. Because everyone ends up in a new space. My sister, who I manage, still manage, kind of manage, she doesn't need my management anymore. So it's just I taught her so much. She's good, but you know, we came up together. I helped her come up, and we were coming up together. Now she is a sound engineer at Tyler Perry Studios. So if I am looking for a music placement and I want to get on a TV show, that's a phone call. She's gonna come over to see her nephew and nieces anyway, right? When I think about when I think about the connections that I have, it's not some major person it was people that I struggled with. There was people that I used to pass out flyers with that are executives at labels now. So when I call them, we're talking about, remember we used to pass out them fucking flyers outside the club? Right? So that's the relationship. It's not some bigger person that's going to carry you up and take you to the promised land. So take that with you too. Network with, but all these people were fucking passionate and wanted to win. There's a whole bunch of other people that were passing out flyers with us that aren't in that position, right? So just appreciate the small shit. And that was a lot of cursing. I hope we don't have to edit all this out, but I'm just being 100. I'm being real with you, man. I hope that was beneficial, man. Was that helpful for you going forward and thinking about how you want to navigate your career?
Oh, no doubt. I mean, what you said here in this 30 minutes is the best stuff I've heard in years. Honestly, that's great stuff. Great stuff, and I appreciate that.
Hey, man, I appreciate you, man. Thank you for watching the channel. Thank you for supporting us. Thank you for allowing us to be a support system and a vehicle for you. And remember, there's a whole lot of content that we put on the site for you to consume that will help you with these things, help you with getting booked, paid shows, help you with getting your paperwork right, help you with understanding management or how to manage yourself. So take advantage of the resources that are on there because it's all high quality stuff and it's all designed to help you win. But I appreciate your time. Thank you for tuning in to Phase 6, my guy. Enjoy the rest of your night.
All right, you too. Take care.
All right, take care. Boom. Good vibes. We are definitely over the time, but I wanted to have that whole conversation for a couple of reasons. One, it's not, unfortunately, I don't have as many country artists that are reaching out. And so it was really exciting to talk to a country artist and to think about my own knowledge of country. I've had the opportunity to work with country artists and see the recording process for country music and how different it is from hip hop and pop culture and other areas that I'm involved in, and how to navigate that space. And I got to go to Musicians Row and or Publishers Row. They have all these names or whatever in Nashville, and it's dope. It's a dope vibe, man. So much love to all of the country artists that are out there, working and looking to make themselves successful and achieve success in the game. Shout out to all the gospel artists that reach out on the platform as well as all the international artists. We have a lot of gospel and international artists that view the platform, and of course, a lot of people that are in the pop, hip hop, in R&B space. I've also had a few rockers reach out. So I wanted to have that conversation. I think that was a dope conversation. It was somewhat repetitive to other parts of today's call, but at the same time, I think it provided new context and a new way of looking at things. And it compiled a series of different topics that I've talked about throughout the curation of this platform. So hope it was super helpful. Again, if you want to be on the show, you got to reach out 404-442-4792 so that I can talk to you about whatever it is that you do or whatever it is that you're going through in hopes that you can be more successful too. So again, my name is Sirr Love, and I don't know everything, but I know a lot about a little and a little bit about a lot. And I'm always trying to give you guys, not even trying, I'm always actually giving you guys every single thing that I got as much as I can in the moment in time, even if the call goes over 30 minutes. I think it's worth it for you. I think you deserve the opportunity to hear that. So thank you very much again. And I hope you all enjoyed today's session. It's your boy, Sirr Love, and I am out. I don't know everything, But I know a lot about a little and a little bit about a lot, and I'm trying to give you guys everything that I got right here on Phase 6. Check us out at www.phasevi.com. Again, that's www.phasevi.com. Beam in.